So we have William John Yost here with us today, and he is the 2023 Ethel Weinberg Award winner. So congratulations again, John. Just a fantastic recognition of all your contributions through medical education and that. So for this interview, I want to ask you some questions about your reactions and your description about what the award means to you and talking about getting your insights about the vision for GME and medical education in the future, advice you have for others, just your tips and your secret sauce.
Well,
um,
I look forward to the conversation, JP.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. So let's just some quick background on the award. So the AIMC presents the Ethel Weinberg MD Award on an annual basis to its individual members who best exemplifies the energy and commitment of our founder. The person selected for this prestigious award must demonstrate excellence in providing significant service to AIMC, including but not limited to board officer or director, as well as committee member and leader, which you are and have been. Noted leadership in academic medicine, both locally and nationally, which you are recognized for. Advocacy for the Independent Academic Medical Center by articulating our unique role and contributions and a vision for the future of academic medicine in AIMC. So welcome again, and again, just really, well deserved and all that. So we were talking earlier about, the stories and your grandfather, who was an Irish
He
cop.
was
Is
an
that right?
Irish cop. He came from a small fishing village in Ireland, not far from Dublin, a place
Wow.
called Malahide. And yeah, he was a storyteller. And so he imbued all of us, I think, with a love for telling stories. And as you and I were discussing, I think it's so fundamental to what we do as educators. We tell stories,
Yeah.
and they usually include patients as the figures in these stories, but it's how we teach, and it's also how we can. I think it's critical to maintaining well-being, to loving what we do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so yeah, so let's hear some. Like one of the first questions here was what was your reaction when you were told that you were the 2026 Ethel Weinberg Award winner?
Well, I'll tell you, in all honesty, JP, I was shocked. In fact, I'd gotten an email from Kimberly telling me that she needed to talk to me about something, and I thought we've either missed a payment for our alliance dues,
Yeah.
or she has, something related to, I don't know, a committee, an initiative, whatever. So when she told me the reason for her call, I was literally shocked. I think I was without words, which is not a common state for me.
Mhm.
Um, and then that was followed by this. Yeah, I had a deep sense of humility about it all. I'm senior enough now to have known Ethel and
Mhm.
admired Ethel a great deal. So to receive an award that was established in her name was both humbling and surprising.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's the award mean to you?
It means to me everything that Ethel meant to me and what she's meant to the organization. I'm deeply appreciative of the recognition. As you and I have discussed, and I've told Mindy and Kimberly, I'm not entirely sure that I'm worthy of this
Yeah.
award, but Ethel was such a force and an advocate for graduate medical education,
Mhm.
particularly in the community-based setting. I think she saw an opportunity that was not being adequately taken advantage of.
Mhm.
So her energy, her passion, her insights. I mean, she was truly a force of nature that made such a difference for us in graduate medical education that I'm truly honored to be recognized with the award in her name.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it makes sense, and it's all in alignment. I mean, talking earlier about the whole, the diversity, the exercise that you have done and presented at AIMC and other places. I mean, I definitely think you should, consider publishing that because I mean that's an activity that I've used here with my residents. And several times in small groups, in large groups. And I tell you what, it's just very engaging and it gets the conversation going. And people then
Yeah.
tell about their experiences They tell about their stories, and it gets people to talk about how they feel about things. And so that's a contribution. Thank you for that, by the way. And
Well,
as I said
I,
before, and that's something that that should be actually I think might be a TED talk. Like that's an idea worth spreading, right? And we need to
that's
do that more
actually
in
not a
medical
bad idea
education.
as well. It's and I've always told my faculty and my residents that much of what we do is like missionary work, right? We're kind of spreading the gospel.
Yeah,
And so if I use something as part of a teaching activity that someone like you, somebody for whom I have great admiration, find even a little bit of value and then take it out there, it's accomplishing what we all hope it will, right? We're going to try to touch people down through generations and then across different institutions with the stories that we tell to
yeah.
illustrate teaching points.
Absolutely. I think we should make that part of our medical education toolkit. I think it is. We got to do more for that because there's so many like in all of our members like they all have a secret sauce. They all have
Right.
experiences and all that, and some of them rub off more than others, and yours definitely did, and all your contributions have
Well,
John.
I have to tell you this, you'll appreciate this, and I know
Uh,
Mindy will also. I know Mindy, you're Italian. My wife is Italian. JP, you're Italian.
yeah.
My wife comes from Calabria. She's Calabrese,
Hey,
and so she has a little bit of an old world view of many things. And when I would come home from a conference, like an alliance meeting, and I would talk about something either that I shared or that somebody else was sharing, she had a hard time understanding that. She'd say, "You mean you need to sell this or you need to buy this from them? What do you mean this is?" And I'd say, "That's not how it works. This
Mhm.
is we all give to each other and we all take from each other in this forum where there's a free exchange of ideas." That was a little bit startling to her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And something that's definitely unique with AIMC, like when we get
Yes,
together and then the things that we share with one another, it's really fantastic. All right.
absolutely.
One of the other questions I wanted to ask is when Dr. Weinberg passed in 2021, we asked prior board members to describe her in one word. Descriptions most often noted were leader, humility, visionary, wise, negotiator. Which of these descriptions do you believe you also possess? And which one do you strive for improvement on?
Oh, well, I thought you were going to ask me which one to me characterized her the best. And I
Hmm.
agree, all of those do. I guess what would I describe myself as principally? I think that leader. I've spent a lifetime leading in different areas, and certainly in graduate medical education at my institution, and then hopefully an impact elsewhere. So I think that's the one that I would think of in terms of describing myself. As far as which one I need to work on, uh, probably not humility. I'm a fairly humble guy.
Hmm.
Uh, I'd be torn between wisdom and being a visionary because wisdom is something we're always acquiring.
Yeah.
Being a visionary is hard because the environment changes so rapidly and
Sure.
often in directions that we don't see coming. So
Yeah.
um, I guess that takes a certain amount of openness to,
Yeah.
but that's probably the thing that I have to work on the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me ask you, as far as like wisdom or your tips for other AIMC members, myself, people in the GME field, like what would be a tip or a piece of wisdom that you would want to share with them?
I'll share two pieces, maybe three. The best advice that my predecessor gave me, Doug Dorner, who was actually also a very good friend of Ethel's,
Uh-huh.
was to always keep a copy of the institutional requirements on my desk and periodically read through them. I've told my program directors to do the same. And I
Uh-huh.
do think that's really good advice because in the day to day hurly burly, it's easy to lose sight of the blueprint that
Yeah.
should be guiding all of us. The second really would be to get involved with an educational organization. The Alliance is a perfect example. There are certainly others, but the Alliance, I think, and to get involved as an early faculty member or educational leader and get to know people and have conversations with people before and after the conference or the plenaries or the sessions and
Yep.
learn from each other. Uh, that has been far and away the most valuable part of my being a part of the Alliance these last 20 or so years. Um, the third piece of advice is just to listen with an open heart to your residents, your faculty, because everybody can bring a kernel of wisdom and insight into a situation, regardless of where they are on the ladder.
Yeah, yeah. No, I t absolutely agree with that. The listening piece is really key, and because then with the residents, meeting with program directors, you kind of get a sense that of what they struggle with and what their aspirations are, what their vision for the future is, and kind of like what gets them going,
Sure.
and what their motivations are. And that certainly helps with, aligning those together and making forward progress in our institutions.
Yeah, I don't
Speaking,
know who told me this, but there
yeah,
was someone early on in my career who said, listen to all of your residents, but especially make sure you listen to the curmudgeons. They're not always easy to listen to, but they often have some really important things to say that will make you a better program director, a better program.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's
Oh,
the
that's
listening
fantastic.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking about vision, be interested in like, so when you look into the future of academic medicine, what do you see?
Challenges. We
Hmm.
certainly have challenges, but I think that the future of graduate medical education has to be an increasing emphasis on the education that is available in the community as well as the university teaching hospital. The reality is, most clinicians are out there practicing in the community, and the best education that they can receive is probably in a community teaching hospital with high standards. They have to have rigorous academic standards, but to see more commonly the sorts of conditions and the sorts of people they will routinely see. I think this was at an alliance meeting. I once saw this diagram that showed how many people at the base constituted the population we take care of, how many actually saw their doctors, which was a smaller group, how many had issues that were resolved in a primary care or secondary, tertiary care level hospital. And then finally, how many people ended at the university teaching hospital? And it was like 1 out of 1,000 ended up at the university teaching hospital. Most of our education and most of our care takes place in the community.
Yeah.
And I think our state legislatures and even federal legislators are beginning to recognize that and shifting resources, hopefully, will continue to do so, that will allow us to really provide that education in the community. And the Alliance has been a leading champion of that for years.
Yeah, yeah. And excellent point. And then, like when you think about 55% of all sponsoring institutions, and there's like, 950, 960, 55% of sponsoring institutions have five or less programs. You have
Right.
25% of all sponsoring institutions that are single program sponsoring institutions, and a lot are more and more are rural. And yeah, I mean, that is where a lot of, that key education is coming because those places also want to retain them, into
Yes.
their system. And so, the clinical, footprint and practice patterns is, super important. Um, what is your vision for GME success?
I think that my vision would be one in which we combine that kind of academic rigor. I
Hmm.
think that that's essential. And I think that can be a harder lift for a smaller institution with fewer programs, but it's certainly achievable. And I think it's often achievable through membership in organizations like the Alliance. I hate to continue to beat that drum, but I think it's very
Yeah.
true. And then also partnerships potentially with a university teaching hospital, many of which cannot provide adequate experiences for all their students anyway. So to have that partnership and be able to provide those experiences, I think, is important. The other part, though, in addition to that kind of academic rigor, is involvement with advocacy so that our legislators do know what we're facing, how we can be a part of the solution, and can send the resources that we need to educate residents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those partnerships with regional medical campuses, which a lot of us are, and even teaching skills around like advocacy. there was a presentation at one of our last annual education conferences on advocacy, and it was an advocacy curriculum. It was so well done. Those are again ideas worth spreading,
Yeah.
even so. Yeah, we need to do more with those. Um, so you've served on quite a few roles in AIMC over the years, including uh, our program committee, chair of the annual meeting planning committee, participating on national initiative team. Uh, what has been the most rewarding aspect, and why would you encourage other AIMC members to get more involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think actually for me, the most rewarding aspect has been attending the meetings, getting to know people like you, like others, sharing. You know, I've learned a couple of things. First of all, if you've seen one institution, you've seen one institution, but we still face a certain commonality in terms of the problems and the challenges. And so, apart from just the socializing and enjoying the people that are like minded, I get a lot of good information from these meetings. It's so that's the single most valuable part of this for me. As far as the roles that you described, I've probably gotten more out of the national initiatives than any other role that I've sometimes just been a team member, sometimes a team leader,
Mhm.
but again, to sit down in a room with three or four or five other institutions and we're working on a similar project, extraordinarily valuable. And of course, we've gotten publications out of some of them,
Mhm.
and an opportunity for scholarly activity, which is all important.
Mhm.
And we've made some meaningful changes in our institution. And
Mhm.
sometimes what we found was, yeah, that doesn't work. We're not going to do this anymore. It just didn't work,
Right.
which is okay too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The collaborative learning piece
Yeah.
is super special and unique. And I love seeing, the residents and even now medical students attending the conferences and getting involved and good. It's a great way for them to contribute and get new ideas. And but the collaboration is just second to none. And it's something that I have not experienced at other conferences, that collaborative learning piece. So I'm so with you. Couple other questions here that I was curious about. You know, um, what would people be surprised to know about you?
You know, there's probably several things that would come as maybe even a shock to some people. But one thing that most people don't know and that might surprise them is before I went to medical school, I was a large animal veterinarian. So I was pretty comfortable delivering cows on a Minnesota hillside, delivering calves from dairy cows on a Minnesota hillside before I met the woman who became my wife. And she made it clear that that was really not part of the future she envisioned for us. And actually, there were a lot of reasons that led to my deciding to apply to medical school. But she's the principal reason I'm not a dairy vet in Minnesota today.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Do you have pets now?
Our dog died here just a few years ago, and we've not had the heart to replace her. I do have five grandchildren. We spent a lot of time on the road, and so we talk about it, but
Uh-huh.
it would mean that either the dog would have to travel to Michigan or we'd have to arrange for care. So, no, we don't have a pet right now.
Where are some places you like to go with the grandkids?
You know, my grandkids are just phenomenal little kids. They're outdoors creatures. So
Uh-huh.
we go into the woods, we go to lakes. I always tell them, okay, nobody get too wet. Nobody go above your knees. Or for God's sake, keep your clothes on. And both of those injunctions are violated within 15 or 20 minutes. And I've got these naked little boys splashing around up to their necks. We spend a lot of time outdoors.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Um, One of the other things I was really curious about, if you could travel back in time, what era would you visit and why?
You know, I would like to. This is going to sound strange. I would like to go back to the 13th century
Hmm.
in Europe. I
Hmm.
would. That was such a time of ferment and change, with changing relationships between church and state, and economic systems changing. And within a few decades, the plague would appear, and so just it's an interesting time. Uh, I read a book once called A Distant Mirror by Barbara Tuchman, where she just described the 13th century in Europe. Uh, it's always fascinated me,
Yeah, yeah, that era.
that era.
Yeah. What did you study in undergrad?
I was a biology major.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a double minor with a minor in chemistry and a minor in livestock production. So,
Again, the dairy connection, right?
exactly, exactly.
That's fantastic. Well, John, I wanted to just congratulate you again on winning the recognition award. It's so well deserved. I so enjoy the work that we have done together and getting to know you more. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you at the annual conference this year.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Thanks, JP. I appreciate the opportunity to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.